Gospel to Team Success and Team Dynamics, where we're going to focus on praising in public and criticizing in private. Reminds me of my first team, one of my first groups I've ever worked with when I first got into business. And I think a lot of people bring into new teams, new organizations, things from their past, because we all fall into old lessons or how we used to do things. And my prior example was always sports. And in the sports and athletic world, typically everyone likes to make fun of each other, everyone likes to pick on each other, everyone likes to bash on each other, and we all just like to just be typical dudes, especially from a young background. And when I got started into business, my mentor told me, make sure that you recognize your team, make sure that you make people feel special and all these things. And I thought it was the cheesiest thing ever. I was like, I'm not going to celebrate this. It's like they just did a little bit. So I was always more on the negative side. I was always more on the critical side, because I thought if you gave away recognition all the time, you were going to make for a weak team. And I was like, I'm not going to have a weak team. We're not going to be a bunch of pansies and all these things. So with that, then, as you can imagine, that team and that organization, they weren't with me for that long. As fast as they came in was as fast as they wanted to quit and really not be around, authority figure Dan in that sense. So then as I started to build other groups and I saw how other people were doing things, I figured I would try it just a little bit. And the funny thing about it is as I started to do a little bit more recognition, I saw a different energy, or I saw a different dynamic change in that team. First and foremost is people felt validated for the work that they were doing. Then as I started to recognize people, they started recognizing each other. And it started creating an environment where everybody lifted each other up instead of tearing each other down. So I started to build a lot bigger team camaraderie, which is what team dynamics is all about, is that camaraderie that everybody's praising each other and building each other up. And then what it also created, it created a silent competition, because instead of me having to tell everybody everything I didn't want them to do, I was indirectly in the recognition saying, this person's doing a good job, follow them by example. Because it's monkey see, monkey do. So as more people started to really strive for that recognition, I didn't have to come down and condemn everyone for everything that they weren't doing, because we were focused more on the positive. And now that leads me to the second piece, which is criticism. Sometimes criticism is needed, sometimes criticism is necessary, because there's oftentimes in business, people are making mistakes and they don't even know that they're making it, or they're unaware of how to be able to change it. So here's how I keep my barrier on this. Whenever I see something that I feel that they can improve, I always ask myself, am I telling them this for them, or am I telling them this for me? And if I feel that it's for them, 100% of the time, I'm going to share it with them. Because I know that that's something that could be the little tweak that could double their business, double their income, double their success, double their confidence. But if it's something that maybe I'm just bothered by and it's really just for me, I keep it to myself. Because I really only want to be able to create that value for them. And then the next way I do it is I never do it openly, and I never, for sure, never make it a joke or do it in a condescending way. Because that will beat people down to the point that they don't want to be around you, they don't want to work with you, they don't want to strive for something better, and they don't feel that they can move forward because they're being beaten down. So I always do it in a private session, and I always do it through asking a lot of questions, because I want to find out where they're at. So how they've been, what they've been working on, what have they been noticing, and then I'm going to start bringing things up. Hey, I noticed that when you're working with people, you're getting this sort of response. Have you noticed this? The reason why I'm always going to do this is I want to know, first and foremost, is what I'm about to talk to them about. Are they aware of it, or are they unaware? Because if they're aware, then it may be they're aware, but they just don't know how to change it. And if they're unaware, then I need to make them completely understand it. So if they're unaware, I need to make sure I give examples so they can start to understand it. Because if I just give them the solution without them truly understanding it, most likely they're not going to change it because they don't agree with it. So that's where we have to work on those agreements to be able to work through the whole process if we really want to support change in our organization. And change and growth and development is one of the key successes in business, because if we're always growing and we're always changing, we're doing our job as a leader, then we're creating value in that group, which is something that they can evolve into a higher level, which if you're the person that took them there, it's going to take you to a higher level as well. So that's the next piece. The third piece is something that very rarely happens, but it can happen. Because the bigger your team and the more successful your team is, typically we could find some bad apples along the way. Now, how do you handle this? Okay? Because maybe you're going to sit down privately, you went through the whole session, and then they chose to not change. Now, you have to ask yourself, is what they're doing, is it something that is affecting the whole team or just them? Now, if it's something that's affecting the whole team, you have to step it up as a leader and make sure that no one person is holding back the group. So what you're going to do is public exposure. So sit down with the whole team, hash out. I've been noticing there are some people in this team that are doing things like this and this and this. They are doing things unethically, they're doing things unfair, they are creating drama, they're talking about each other, they're creating lies. These would have to be major things that are hurting the team or the organization. And then I'll let everyone know, do we want a team that is based on that standard? All the time, everyone, no, we don't. Okay, so if you guys see someone like that, we need to either bring it to them personally or bring it to me over and over, so we can make sure that we raise everybody up. So what this does is this gives everyone permission to police high standards. And if everyone's policing those high standards, then we have created an environment where the people that have high ethics feel like they can win and they can succeed. And now we've created an environment where the team can grow and thrive. All right, guys, that's all we got. We'll see you for the fourth and fifth principle later.